Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host Bryan. We're gonna get this week started with this weekend started with some special selections. We've got one for today, one for tomorrow. I believe we have a bonus track, a bonus reaction coming out tomorrow, and then Monday we start video game soundtrack music, which is it's gonna be an interesting one. I think a lot of variety. I'd almost wager we're getting away from some of the uh, rock and metal oriented stuff and kind of looking at some more classical things, which is kind of the vibe I'm getting from some of the songs that have been selected for the poll. But that is in a couple of days. Today we're going to be checking out some special selections, and this one comes at us from Christopher Rojas. It says, "Oh snap, my time has come. The Dillinger Escape Plan, Widower." Now, we've listened to Dillinger Escape Plan a couple of times. One time, maybe? I don't know. It might just be one time. And it might have been just on a, what is that? A live stream. I'm pretty sure the live stream's available. But I'm not 100% sure. I almost have all the live streams available to watch now. A lot of them got blocked during the stream themselves, which has made it a little difficult to get them released as, like recorded videos. So getting around to that. All right, anyways, I kind of have an idea what we're in for with Dillinger Escape Plan. And yeah, let's dive in and see what they're giving us today. All right. So we had some creepy ambient noise to begin with, and this is definitely unsettling. It's unsettling, but leading into those bright major harmonies. Oh, beautiful progression. Nice timpani.
So bad you never knew. I felt like you should know, but I could not tell you so.
Very cool harmony. Yeah, lots of drive on that drum set. Tons of potential energy just building up here. Yeah, lots of really cool textures here. We got the piano and the bells in the background against the grittiness of the guitars. Dude, those snare accents before this were so good. so much tension. This is a powder keg waiting to go. Yep. Ooh, that bass tone. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I legitimately thought that that piano solo was the outro of the song, and I was wrong by 16 bars, and that 16 bars was quite the surprise. So if we just kind of start at the beginning. This is not what I expect from Dillinger Escape Plan. Um, the explosive part, the screaming and the chaos, that is. So this is a very welcome surprise for a lot of reasons. Um, it might just be that it's not as harsh, which allows me to kind of key into a lot of the musical aspects and vocal aspects that are cropping up, um, that I can really dig in and appreciate. I'm not saying that Dillinger isn't something that I haven't appreciated in the past. It's just that I approach them from a standpoint of not really enjoying the music, but appreciating what they're doing. But here it's a joining my appreciation and my enjoyment as a casual listener. So, first of all, can we just get this out of the way that the pianist is amazing, right? Um, just there are some really lovely lines in here, not just going so far as difficulty to perform. I don't think anything in here was extremely difficult to perform. There were some really nice runs that had some good precision to them, but nothing that I think would take a master pianist to do. However, what I really want to highlight is phrasing and kind of mixing the idea of phrasing with story writing. Um, there's actually some really nice phrasing stuff to at the beginning of the song. But what I really want to tune into, I think the highlight of the piano work is that solo during the soft jazz section that should have been the ending. Um, so we have some really clean playing, some nice runs in there. But the interesting thing that I want to point out is that the solo itself is the phrase. Um, we have seen some guitar solos in the past that I say have phrasing or pacing issues, and that's because you can tell that they wrote, a 4 bar phrase and then the next 4 bar phrase, and there's a there's a clear stop there where they sort of reset their writing. And sometimes we've even seen this with lengthier solos where we see 4 of these very distinct sections that don't really flow into each other very well. This is the antithesis of that. Here we see a piano solo that works from beginning to end as a single idea. There is not a single part of this that feels disjointed from the rest. There isn't a single beat that feels like it is a clear divide between different musical ideas. This is, what was that, about 32 bars, I'd say? Uh, Maybe less. I mean, it was a slower tempo, too, so. Anyways, we'll go with like 45 seconds to a minute of, just one single musical idea. And I just love that, especially with the ways that the pianist was playing around with the storytelling. We had runs, we had a little bit of held out sections, we had some coloring outside the lines, really playing around. I think it was like bar 5, 6. It was real early in, um, just really playing a lot of keys that are a bit out of the chord that was being played under it. But it was done so tastefully. Like we really sat in it. It wasn't like we just tagged a note and then re-entered into the notes in the chord. I mean, he really picked like 12 notes in a row that were all outside of the chord, and we did move through them rather quickly, but we still hunkered down into that feeling, that tension, for a while. But it didn't feel wrong. It didn't feel out of place. It was very intentional, especially when the rest of the song envelops those same ideas. We see a lot of this throughout the song, this concept of tension. The whole song. I mentioned, I think we were at the second chorus, and I said something along the lines of, the song is a powder keg or something. And it is. They build tension for so long that it might as well be the core element of the track, which is rising and falling tension. We don't really resolve anything until the huge explosive section, and its resolution is definitely well met, but also, um I mean, it's not a full resolution, is it? It's still tense. The song never really lets us resolve entirely. It is more of the energy being released that's been built up rather than any sort of clear musical resolution. Um, but we still have this explosion of energy that has been bottled up for the first, 3 or 4 minutes of the song. Um, and it's interesting that right after we have this big explosion of energy, we're finally showcasing this. I mentioned it. It was potential energy. We had all this potential energy, and it explodes into this massive display of kinetic energy. We have the frantic drumming. We have the chaotic guitar playing. The singer switches to a scream vocal and just really digging into some of this heaviness. And as soon as we get out of that, um, it isn't a nice fall back down. It's like running. You just ran that marathon, and you don't have energy. There isn't a nice coming down. There's just we were at 100, and now we're down to 0, and we enter that slow jazz section, and I love that. It's like I don't know, the story here that I'm getting musically, the musical storytelling is just phenomenal as far as the way that they portray energy and kind of embody it in the music. um, which also kind of gets thrown out the window. You can kind of see the explosive section is sort of a fit of energy. You've been bottling up all these emotions, and now you're finally unbottling them, and they're just getting out. And then you feel drained afterwards, and then they just bring it all back for the ending. Like it doesn't really fit as far as I see in that overarching narrative. But if we exclude the ending, I really like the way that it works. Which on a first listen, it makes me think that the ending is done more for the shock factor, because the piano fade out is such a good ending. It just isn't very Dillinger Escape Plan, is it? And I kind of get that that's why the ending brings back the heavy section for a few bars. Um, and it repeats lyrics that we've heard before. It repeats a section that we've heard before. It isn't anything new. It's not adding anything or changing anything. And to me, that's why it just kind of, yeah, it was like, whoa, the music came back, but I don't really feel like after the shock wore off that it changed the way I viewed the song. And so I think that's the only real negative to me is the ending. I think it really should have ended on that fading out piano. But yeah, just the overall musical storytelling here is amazing. I love what they do with tension. Speaking of tension, the intro section, that was, I mean, the whole song was sort of a nice surprise from Dillinger, but the intro is really what caught me off guard because I can't really say that I've heard really beautiful music from Dillinger yet. And this is just not what I would expect from them, but it's beautiful on such a level of compositional control. We have this uh not really melling, more like a I don't want to say tense again because I've said tension a lot here, but it's ominous. It is this ominous, beautiful intro where we have these really nice piano runs dancing around sort of bright and lighter chords, and then also these more tense ones. And, there's definitely a bit of darkness in the piano work, in the bell work that's going on there. But I think it's really the vocalist that sells this section. I don't think it would work as well without the vocal delivery. Um, Much like the piano work, there is a lot of grace and beauty in the vocals there, but it also kind of digs into some really creepy aspects as well. Just how not only how he hits notes and the notes themselves and how they relate to the chords behind them, but also how he delivers them. Just has this edge of creepiness to it. There's just this little bit of offset or unsettlingness to the vocals, and it just works so well in combination with the music that's going on. And like I said, I don't think the section delivers on the idea of almost like something beautiful, but something hidden under the surface, something that's beautiful on the surface, but maybe a little darker underneath. Um, it definitely hits those moments, but the vocals I think is what really sells it and elevates that section and ensures that the listener gets those themes. How all of this relates to the lyrics or the theme of Widower, I don't know. Um, yeah, there's not even any lyrics for me to look at and then tell you that I don't know what I'm looking at. Um, but yeah, this is a good introduction for me to Dillinger. This is something I would listen to. Yeah, maybe I should check this album out. Definitely not some of the stuff we've listened to in the past, which is just highly chaotic, uh, highly kinetic music that's just full of energy and chaos, kinetic chaos for sure. I dig this a lot more. I don't know if this is indicative of this album. Maybe this is an intro or an outro to the album, and it was a little different for them. Maybe they did some experimentation, but I dig this. There's a nice theatric quality to it. The musicality, the composition is easily understood for me. When we get into some of the harsher stuff, I can appreciate that there's artistic qualities to it, but it's harder for me to zero in on what exactly I'm listening to when we're doing crazy time signature changes and we're constantly playing outside of chords, chord progressions, and the harsh vocals. And it's just a lot difficult. It's more difficult for me to decipher and really dig into without sheet music than something that is more, at least on the surface, more melodic. Something that I can really that I'm more adjusted to listening to. However, as I've said before, I don't judge bands on first, second, third, fourth, fifth songs. Bands evolve so much over time that, some bands, kind of find their groove and they just kind of stick with it. But who knows what bands, are going to sound like in the future. Every album is a huge difference. Just look at Bring Me the Horizon. If you listen to their first album and decided never to listen to them again, you're going to miss out on a lot of music, especially music that is a lot more palatable to your general mainstream audience. So, yeah, I've never dismissed Dillinger Escape Plan. I've never put them down or anything like that, but they've never been something that I've felt I needed to go listen to. And this, though, this is like, yeah, maybe I should check this album out and see if anything on here is like this because I really enjoyed this song. It's a really nice mix between more theatrical music and the hardcore, post hardcore heaviness, whatever Dillinger Escape Plan is. It's a really nice medium between the two. And I am kind of sold on the bells and piano. I hope they show up a lot because, like I said, the pianist is skilled. And I think the bells add a nice lightness, kind of a bouncy cheeriness to their band. They have a very heavy, dark sound, and it really brightens that up a little bit and provides some juxtaposition to their typical sound. So those are my thoughts on Dillinger Escape Plan Widower. This is where you guys come in. Hit me up in the comments. Let me know your thoughts if you enjoyed it or not. Anything that specifically stood out to you. Is this indicative of this album? At least I know it's not indicative of their style. If I went and checked out this specific album, Option Paralysis, am I going to find more like this, or is this sort of a fringe song and I'm going to find more of what I've listened to already? When you're done commenting, you can check out the description box for some links that are adjacent to the channel, Patreon, Discord, Twitter, stuff like that. You can also like, subscribe, and ring the bell. All three of those help out the channel immensely. I will be back tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 p.m. UTC with tomorrow's special selection, as well as probably a bonus track. This one is long overdue. This person's been asking for it for quite some time. And yeah, I gotta dig it. It's gotta be good, right? It's been requested every day for months. So I guess we'll get into that and see how that goes. No promises, but it's like a 70% chance we'll have a bonus song tomorrow. Then, like I said, Monday is the beginning of the new week, video game theme tracks. So looking forward to that one. I've already shared a video game theme track when it was Bryan Recommends Week, which was the composer was Doyle W. Donahue, and it was his Dawn of War 2 soundtrack. And the song, I think we did Kane's Wrath. I mean, that's a good song. I'm pretty sure it was Kane's Wrath. I think my second choice was Show Me What Passes for Music Among Your Misbegotten Kind. And that's a really good track too, but it was like 14 minutes long and just a bit repetitive. I think it does repeat itself a couple of times because it is a video game soundtrack and it's designed to be looped in the background for stuff. So I think that's why I didn't pick that one. So I'm pretty sure it's Kane's Wrath. Anyways, phenomenal composer, phenomenal soundtrack. Don't know about the game, never played it. I feel like that's how this is gonna go with this week. Like I'm familiar with some video game music, um, but I don't really play too many of the games that the music comes from. So that'll be interesting. I recognize some of the game names on the list, the possible songs we can check out, but I don't think I've played many of them. So this will be a fun week. I've rambled on enough, so let's close this one out. Until next time, remember to be critical and not cynical of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening whenever you choose to watch my videos.